Okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and record it, and then I'll just post it on every social media site since it's acting a little wonky today. All right, you guys, we are recording. We're going to go ahead and jump right on in. All right. So we are recording, you guys, and here we go. So I would like to welcome everybody to my 2021 virtual fitness panel. I'm so glad for everybody to be here with us. I have some amazing, amazing people with us today. I want to introduce myself. My name is Malasia Jordan. I am the owner of Malasia Jordan's Personal Training and Health Coaching. I am a certified personal training and health coach through the American College of Sports Medicine. I specialize in helping beautiful people create beautiful bodies and help heal themselves through fitness. Like I said, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us tonight. I'd like to thank each and every one of my panelists for joining us tonight. A lot of people have been asking me what is the reason I decided to do this panel, and it's kind of very personal. Somebody close to me deals with depression, and they tried to commit suicide last year. And in trying to find resources for that person, I realized the lack of resources. So I decided for myself, I feel like there was an injustice for people who were dealing with depression. So what can I do? How can I become a resource? So then I started to research, and that's when I learned about fitness. And that's when I learned about the benefits that fitness can have for exercise. Somebody can be down, all you have to do is get up, get them moving, and it can change their entire day. When I realized that power, I wanted parts of it. And that's one of the main reasons I personally got involved with fitness. And I also did some research and looked at some stats locally here in the Midwest to kind of see how depression and anxiety has been affecting people since COVID. And the CDC says that because of the COVID disease pandemic has been associated with mental health challenges related to morbidity and mortality caused by the disease and the migration of having to come home. Symptoms of anxiety disorder and depressive disorder increased considerably in the United States during April and June of 2020, compared with the same period of 2019. Overall, 40.9% of people who responded to the survey said they suffer from one mental health or other behavioral health condition, including symptoms of anxiety disorder or depressive disorder. 30% have symptoms of stress-related disorder, and 26% have stated that they have increased in their stresses with depression. So as you guys can see, the stats have gone up since a lot of people have been stuck at home during the pandemic. That's one of the main reasons I invited all my esteemed guests here, so they can give you guys actionable tools to help you push through the remaining pandemic. Because as much as we want this to be over, it's not. You know, it's still here. So I want to start by introducing my amazing, amazing guest here. I want to start by introducing Justin Henley. He is, excuse me. That's not wash your stuff. No, I'm just kidding. We have a Justin Henley, Mr. Just Watch Me Fitness. He is the owner and CEO and head instructor of Fit in the City movement. He also has an amazing, amazing fitness apparel line. So you guys make sure you check that out. Next, we have Elizabeth. She is the owner of Locust Co-working. She is a registered nurse, a certified health coach, a registered yoga and meditation teacher specializing in chronic disease and stress management through the utilization of alignment of holistic health. Elizabeth helps people achieve their goals, the greatest state of health, wellness, by infusing her 20 years of healthcare experience in public health, secondary and post-secondary education, nursing administration, critical care, and holistic body-mind practices. Elizabeth's philosophy is grounded in the principle that the body follows the mind and believes a higher state of wellness in life can be achieved by all people. Next, we have Lindsay. She is the owner of Mind, Body, and Kitchen. Mind, Body, and Kitchen is a personalized coaching program that encourages women in the right direction to reach their highest goals and intentions. It is time, she says, to embrace the freedom that you guys have always dreamed about by having and claiming the health and well-being and success that you desire. She says that she is a qualified wellness educator and a freedom food expert, and she bases all her experiences on her own life experiences. She is a certified psychology eating coach. She is also a hot power fusion yoga teacher, as well as a yoga instructor, and she's also a nutrition and dietetics technician, and she's registered. And she also graduated from Illinois State University with her bachelor's in science, nutrition, and dietetics. So again, I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. This is not a new conversation or a new topic, but this is definitely a safe place to have it. Our panelists and our panel will give you guys all actionable tools that you need to help increase your overall well-being. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into these questions for our panelists. I'll have you guys wait until the end to answer any Q&A questions that we may have. I also will go ahead and hop on live and announce my winner after this for the waist trainers. So to start off with, I'll start out with Lindsay for the first question. Lindsay, can you speak briefly about your wellness journey and how that began and how that influences your current work?
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Malaysia. And I just got to say, as you were talking, because we know each other from college, and I am just so freaking proud of you. Just all the beautiful things you're doing and the amazing people that you're bringing together through health, fitness. It's awesome. So this topic is really important to me. It inspires the work that I do, and it touches my heartstrings, because we're not just talking about the health benefits of fitness, right? We kind of all know what those things are, but we're talking about the connection between fitness and mental health, which, as you pointed out right now, is huge. So my journey kind of started, I was a competitive dancer throughout high school and college, which means I was very active. And I was also overly focused on food and eating healthy to the point that it caused me even more anxiety. And at times I was isolating myself. And shortly after that, I struggled with binge eating. I was frustrated, anxious, lonely. I felt helpless at times. And so my journey in overcoming that and creating a positive relationship with my body and with food inspired the work that I do today. And it all started when I was in college. I was still dancing, and I started taking yoga classes, which really took my focus, my fitness focus, from perfection and analyzing and judging my body to loving my body. And it also helped with my anxiety because it forced me to be present in the moment. I didn't realize how stuck in my head I was until I was stuck in pigeon pose for 3 minutes and I couldn't get out of my head. So my passion now is really helping people realize that being healthy doesn't have to be a struggle, that it's okay to love food. It's okay if your wellness journey doesn't look like everyone else's, and it's okay to have fun when you're moving your body. So thank you again for having us here tonight.
No problem. I'm going to ask that same question to Justin. So Justin, can you speak briefly about your own wellness journey and how you kind of incorporate that in your work?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, just Malaysia, it's an honor to be on this panel with all of you. And I had the pleasure to speak with you on the Flight Radio topics that we discussed in regards to my journey and, what pushed me out to actually want to better myself as physically, but also people around me. As far as, with the pandemic, what I found is people were isolated. And when you're talking about mental health, it's very important that you surround yourselves around positive, impactful people. That 6-month journey for me specifically, I had to really clone in and figure out, on my fitness journey, did I want to have the quarantine weight take over my my mental state of mind, or did I want to do something to actually elevate myself? So I chose the elevation path. I actually tapped in back to my social media platforms and just started to connect with people socially online. I knew I couldn't be around a lot of people in person. So I just went into this whole like clone in zone and focused in on what workouts would actually be beneficial for me. And then I started to share them on my social media platforms. It's a very powerful tool, as we all know, just like technology here today on our panel. So my mental state of mind was, look, there's 8 hours a day that I cannot be around people. What am I going to do to better my mental stability? So I just formed curriculum-based workouts, which really geared in on those specific target areas. I knew if I didn't do anything about that, that I could essentially put on 20 plus pounds in less than those 6 months. So to take advantage of the social media and also just communicating with others who have the same challenges, started creating different meals that were easy to actually eat, but not also like Lindsay said, she had binge eating challenges. So I had to figure out different meals that can accommodate my lifestyle. Because again, in a 6-month period, 8 hours can become a very long time. When you're looking at 24-hour span, that's a long time to not have physical activity. So the gyms were closed. So that's where I figured out doing different regimens in my own home and also in the parks were my sanctuary. So that's really how my mental state of mind was cleared. I created this curriculum-based workout, which is the Fitness City movement, and just started to use the social media platform to help inspire others. And that's how it's grown so tremendously. So just to give you that clarity.
Thank you, Justin. Thank you. And Elizabeth, can you please tell us a little bit about your wellness journey and how you kind of incorporate that in your work?
Absolutely. So again, I'm also very honored to be here tonight. Thank you so much for both Justin and Lindsay for sharing as well. And I think we all have a story, and that's what leads us into the work that we do. And my story is very similar to some of the stories that you've shared. I haven't always been in the fitness industry. In fact, I was probably the least likely to be chosen on the school softball game or basketball game. But I always had a desire to move, and I started my journey when I was about 19 years old, and I was diagnosed with an autoimmune condition and also chronic migraines. And of course, as a registered nurse, I've been a nurse since I was 19. And so as a registered nurse, you're taught to seek care, seek medication, and that was really going to be the only solution. And unfortunately, I did follow that path for a few years until I started to really take control over my own health. And just in the last 10 to 15 years have I really started to realize the control that we do have that starts with our mind. And my philosophy is that the body follows the mind. And we know that our cells are listening and that our cells are eavesdropping on our thoughts, and it really can direct the course of our health. Now, while there is a place for traditional medicine, there's also a place for us to activate that healing from within us. And I know, Lindsay, you can probably, echo that with the work that you do. And so I help people kind of from a multimodality standpoint, where I bring in my traditional medical training as a registered nurse, understanding pathophysiology of disease, understanding the neurovascular system and how stress really activates these systems, and that turns into disease. So that's one thing that a lot of people don't necessarily understand, but it's only because they're not showed that part of their bodies, is that how stress can translate into disease. And so I started to make a shift where I started focusing more on the prevention, and not just prevention in the simplest terms, but action-based prevention, where we can have sustainable stress management and live a thriving life.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. We're gonna move right into the next question. I spoke a little bit already about why I kind of got into fitness. Like I said, as far as I had a family member who suffered from depression, and trying to find resources for that person, we got into doing fitness. And so we started realizing the physical benefits of it and relieving that depression for this person. I was like, I need to do this for everybody. I need to do this for everybody. And since then, I've just been doing my best to heal others through fitness. And our next question is, in each of your opinions, What are the psychological and physiological benefits of fitness and or regular exercise in regards to improving self-confidence, also while combating depression and anxiety? For this one, I'll go ahead and let Justin start.
All right. So I would say, being a former college football player for myself, as you all know, there's a lot of things that are tied to college athletes and the psychological aspects. Doing research with the concussion protocol, I'm sure you may have heard about. That's been the biggest thing where a lot of football players have committed suicide. And, based on the impact of the sport itself, it causes a lot of different type of demonic things that can happen in your mental capacity, because you're so competitive and you're constantly battling to do better and you're being pushed so hard. At those times of failure, that's when things start to really sink in. So with the psychological aspect of that, that's where fitness can really help you to get over the hump. I know for me, it was training three times a day, doing my classwork. That was a regimen every day. So I had to figure out a balance. I think balance is key when you're dealing with the psychological and the physical aspect of fitness. And just balancing all that, I felt like, those times when I was just not around people, or I was pushed by coaches saying, I had to lose 5 pounds before I check in for the next game. I mean, it's a big strain on you. So just, to break away from all the monotony and have that downtime, really allowed me to really want to better myself and physically and also psychologically. That's where I really figured out this whole aspect of embracing nature. I think when fitness is about nature and the beauty of it. It's not always as competitive. I like to have fun, so just doing different workouts with clients of mine, making them laugh, they tell me all their snacks that they're eating that are not healthy. I'm not going to badger them. I'm just going to inspire, because I've been there, in college. Heck, I didn't even have, after the cafeteria closed, it was like oodles and noodles. So it wasn't that I ate a healthy meal all the time, but that's where the physical aspects come into play. We're human beings, we have to treat people as such. So just to give you my experience, Malaysia, on the psychological and how I was able to overcome things. And then, of course, the physical aspect as well.
Thank you, Justin. And I'm going to go ahead and move that and ask that same question to Elizabeth.
Absolutely. So again, we have such a rich background here with all of us here, and I know that we'll be able to echo a lot of what we each say. But one thing that I've really noticed is that, bringing the biological basis to what's actually happening in the brain and the body when we move our body and when we're doing mindful movement or exercise. We know that in the cardiovascular system, we're bringing fresh oxygen to tissues that need healing. We know that after exercise, neurotransmitters such as serotonin and dopamine and all of these other feel-good hormones are released. And that's really the part that, when someone is struggling with depression or anxiety, that first step can be the absolute hardest, and it can be paralyzing, of course, because of stress hormones, but it can be paralyzing to get someone past that point. But once they make that first step, I don't know if any of you can agree that I don't have one workout that I've ever regretted. They've all been amazing, even on the days when you don't feel like it. So one thing that I encourage my clients to do, and something that I live by, is even on the days that I'm in pain or the days that I just don't feel good or don't feel like it, if I can make an effort of 10 minutes to start moving my body, even if those 10 minutes are just breathing exercises, that I'm getting myself primed to have a good day. And the more consistent that we are with that practice, the more that our body responds to that. And so I look at it from the neurobiological standpoint, and then also the mental standpoint and the emotional standpoint, because we are one full body connected. There are no parts of us that are separate.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I love that. Lindsay?
Yeah, just, oh my gosh, Justin, Elizabeth, both of you, so spot on. I mean, it really is about finding that balance. We don't have to work out 5 days a week in the gym all the time consistently, because maybe that's not sustainable for every person. It's about finding that balance, because our physical and our mental well-being is important to consider. And, you know, just by what Elizabeth said too, going off that, is it can be motivating just by getting started, even when you don't feel like it. It's kind of like a snowball effect. And I don't believe in forcing exercise when the body and the mind truly need rest. I know both of you spoke to that as well, but to get yourself out of that hole, sometimes you just have to do it, and it feels so good after. These past few months, I mean, I struggle with seasonal depression, but I think for me this past year with COVID, it's like times 10. It's been really, really hard. So even if I just get up and turn on music and start dancing, not only am I moving my body, but it's boosting my mood. And we just got a rebounder, a mini trampoline. So I'm just jumping. And when you're stuck in a rut, when your body's in a stress response, everything kind of shuts down. And just shaking your body, getting all those jitters out, not only does it like move your body, stimulate those organs that are kind of just sitting there, it just moves that energy through. So whatever negative energy or stuck energy, stress energy you need, just moving the body. So if you got to get up and dance, dance. If you need to go run in circles, run in circles. Like, it's, at the end of the day, it's about choosing movement that inspires self-love and gratitude. You know, feel so grateful that you have a body that can move. It's not about judging it or punishing it or shaming it. Just love your body and move it.
Thank you, Lindsay. I agree with all of you guys, and I thank each of you guys for elaborating on that point here. I agree with you. Whenever I'm dealing with a client, whenever we set a goal and they hit it, it just does something for them. It does something for their confidence. It does something for their mood. It shows them that they're able. Whenever I'm working with a client who lets me know that they're dealing with a mental issue, you know what I'm saying? I always tell them, make that issue fight for a spot in your life. You know, instead of damaging yourself in the other way, let's do it a productive way by working out. So there's so many benefits and positive benefits that can come from exercise. You could just be in a bad mood, but once you get up and you get moving your body and you start pushing yourself, then that's when things can change. So I think it's very important for all of us as fitness professionals to let our clients know that, yeah, you can lose weight, you can do all these things, but there's so many other benefits that comes with fitness. And that's the big thing that a point that I want to come across with this panel, is the fact that if you're dealing with depression, or you're dealing with anxiety, and you're like, well, I feel this way, there's no way that I can work out. Lo and behold, that one thing could change your life. That one thing could change your mood. That one thing could change your decision, you know, or it could be a great outlet for you to take the pain or whatever you may be feeling out on. So that's what I believe are all the best benefits when it comes to fitness and using it to build self-efficacy. So my next question can each of you talk a little bit about specific ways that you and your brand advocates for self-care? For this one, I'm going to start with Elizabeth.
And could you repeat that question for me, Malasia?
Yep, no problem. How does each of your brands advocate for self-care?
Absolutely. So, the foundation of what I teach, I work with individuals, but I also work with organizations to help them develop sustainable stress management within their organizations. And really, I talk, someone will come to me and they'll say, oh, I want to lose weight, or I want to, get help with anxiety and depression, or maybe I need to find a new career and I'm not sure what I should be doing. Well, they come to me with those goals, but I always talk about that it's a mindset shift. And I tell them that the biggest change that they're going to experience is with the way they think. And at first they're like, okay, whatever, but how do I lose weight? What are the calories I need to eat? What exercises do I need to do? And I always say the byproduct of changing the way you think is your goal. So the byproduct is weight loss when your cells are aligned with the way you're thinking. And in that process, one of the first questions that I ask clients is, what do you currently do to care for yourself? Asking them on a specific level, what time of day do you set aside for yourself? What are your thoughts in the first 60 seconds of your day? And really getting them thinking like, oh, wow, you're right. I really I thought I was doing that and I'm really not doing that. So getting them to focus on the way they think about themselves. I know, Lindsay, you shared that too about, respecting and showing grace for the bodies that we have. And instead of being angry that we have pain or a limitation, giving ourselves the ability to say, wow, I have the ability to breathe. And with that breath, I'm able to nourish my body, and my body does things for me that I don't even have to think about. And again, when we start that perspective shift, get them thinking about how caring for themselves is going to have that natural byproduct of the goals that they wish to have, that's where the real change starts to happen.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I'll go ahead and have Lindsay answer that question. How does your brand advocate for self-care?
Yeah, well, I'll just try to keep it short and sweet because I could go on and on and on. So really, self-care, it's not something you do, it's something you embody, right? I mean, just as Elizabeth said, it's how you care for yourself, and you got to make you a priority. Because if we walk around saying, I don't have time for self-care, I don't know how to do self-care, it's not about that. It's just about putting you first. So a lot of people, it's like promoted all over, it's advertised, and it can look like indulging and pampering yourself with a hot bubble bath. Like, that's a small part of it. But therapy is self-care. Crying is self-care. Setting personal boundaries is self-care. Resting your body and your mind is self-care. Nourishing your body, your mind, and your soul. Discovering new things about yourself, that's self-care. So it can be fun, and it can also be hard work. And it's, at the end of the day, it's about giving yourself what you need, which isn't necessarily what looks good. It's being honest with yourself, practicing self-awareness, being curious about who you are, and respecting yourself. It just comes down to allowing yourself to be you. And if we don't include self-care and self-love on the journey towards health, and we become too focused on the physical parts of us, then we risk neglecting our mental, our social, and our emotional aspects of well-being, which is why we're all here talking today. So yeah, self-care, make you a priority.
Awesome. That was perfect, Lindsay. That was great. So Justin, how does your brand advocate for self-care?
Yeah, well, so within my platform of my boot camp that I initiate with my clients, I decided to actually roll out a 30-day challenge. So we actually set goals in that duration of our workouts. And in those goals that we set, I set aside, of course, outlining those guilty pleasures. I mean, so we all know as a fitness enthusiast, I mean, we have those cheat meals that we just can't get away from. Now, beating up on our clients is not what we should always do, right? We have to reinforce positivity, and that's providing self-care as well. But what I do say is, hey, listen, within your first maybe 1 or 2 weeks in the boot camp, if you lose 1 pound, then we can actually celebrate that pound into a self-care, type of a regimen. Maybe it's they get to have a day off where I might have them on a 3-session workout, but maybe I say, okay, I'll give you a day off for yourself to recover. Maybe it's not that we're going to do weight training for that particular session, and we may do like a cardio boxing drill, or maybe, it's just reinforcing the workout. So it's not as strenuous for them, but they actually see the value in it, and they're really appreciative. And then again, it's just having talks with them. Maybe I'll focus in on meditation after workouts. So I add different regimens to my platform for them to really see the holistic part of working out, not just the physical aspect. So I think within that, the self-care is provided to them, and they actually can take it away, and they push harder moving forward.
Thank you, Justin. Thank you. That was perfect. As far as my brand, how do I advocate for self-care? I advocate for self-care by any of my clients know that I have a 1 day called the mental day. It doesn't matter what day of the week it is, it's their choice, but they have a mental day. During that day, they are not to exercise. They are not to stress themselves out. They are not to put any type of physical strain on themselves. They are just to sit down and kind of reflect on the week and let me know how they feel that they're going on their fitness journey. Do they feel that they hit their goals this week? And if not, how did that make you feel? Every week I have an initial kind of talk with my clients, when we sit down, we spend 30 minutes of just talking. How do you feel like this program is going for you? How are you feeling? How is your life going? It's about going beyond just the professional the part. Is about going and really being part of these people's lives, really investing in them. So I make sure I invest in all my clients by one, make sure they have a mental health day, and two, by just talking to them. How's it going? How's the kids? How's the husband? How's your support system? Don't have one, that's okay. That's what I'm here for. It's about offering that support to everybody who comes to me. Our next question is, how has COVID-19 impacted your business and, in your opinion, affected the health and wellness industry? We'll start this one with Justin.
Yeah, so with the COVID-19 pandemic, I think the biggest challenge for me was really reinventing how I train clients. So we're so used to having the facilities available and readily for us to work out at, like the gyms, or just say we have equipment. We're used to maybe bringing it to those specific areas. Now, what the pandemic did was it transformed how we interact in person with people. We have to bring those safety measures to the forefront, so like Malasia, you stated, education aspect of it. It's not just about the physical robustness of working out, but like protecting yourself, protecting them, even taking temperature checks even before working out with them, making sure they see the seriousness of this pandemic. If they have small children, even ensuring in them like, hey, we're in an big open space so they can run around, they can, exercise while the parents are being trained. So I think, like I said, it's a whole mind shift, how we utilize open space. Really, the pandemic opened my eyes to how that had to really operate. I literally took about a month before I actually rolled out my movement to understand the concepts, understand, some people are very private and they don't want to be around a lot of people, even like body types, when you're talking about like different weights of clients, some of them feel a little bit embarrassed because they're like, wow, I'm not used to being outdoors where people see me working out. So I just had to really, reinforce to them their end goals. How do they want to feel? This pandemic is not going away. So it's more so like letting them know that you're there to coach them through the hard and the tough pains. But, just seeing that whole 360 of how most of the people who were in the best physical shape really had to focus in on recreating ways to make their fitness journey more pleasurable, and it's not like that beating up your body every day. Like you said, Malaysia, you have to have those mental clarity days. You have to have those like pamper days. I mean, even if that means you like give a client like a gift card to their favorite spa. I've increased my going to the spa as well, getting massages. So it helped me to do better for myself. These are things I didn't do before the pandemic, but I take time now to do them more, and then reinforcing it for clients to do as well. So I think that has really inspired me through the pandemic with the COVID, and I've stayed COVID free, thank God, doing it. So I just, if that gives you more clarity.
Thank you, Justin. I'll go ahead and answer this question as well. How's COVID-19, like you said, it has changed the way that we interact with our clients. Where I'm so used to being there, they're so used to me being there. We're so used to feeling each other's energy, feeding off of each other, just being there. Now you had to step back and kind of figure out a different way of doing that while keeping everybody safe. So it was definitely a challenge, but it was a blessing because it forced us to become creative. Now I'm working on online studios. Now I'm reaching farther than I've done before. Instead of staying, here with people, I'm able to reach people all over the nation. So, it has its advantages and disadvantages. As far as how I feel that it impacted the health industry, I did feel that it made some people, a little bit more afraid to be around people and interact. But I think it made health and wellness more at the front line. It made people realize that anything can change the state of your health. Whether you have control over it or not, anything can. So while you have control over it, do what you can to take care of this machine that we're in. So next, I'm going to go ahead and ask Elizabeth that question. How has COVID-19 impacted your business?
Oh, Malasia, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was like, wow, that's exactly what I was going to say. Really I also, Justin, I know you said you took like a month before you rolled out your program. I remember, when I found out that all of my speaking engagements and all of the places I was going to be working with organizations were canceled. And I sat at my desk and I said, now what? Now what am I supposed to do? And I had a moment where I was like, but this is my purpose. This is my life purpose. Like, I'm not going to just go do something. This is my life's work. And, with much diligence, I developed, the ability to work with organizations virtually, even though, just like you said, Malasia, there is something about being in the presence of people and feeling their energy, moving with the flow of the room that I miss desperately. I mean, that's where my bread and butter is, because I'm so passionate about helping people. But in the good side of things, I also have been able to reach organizations that normally I'd have to, book a 3 or 4 day trip. And now I can speak to their organization, and in the afternoon, I can still be at home. So there are benefits. We've been forced to be really creative in the way that we connect with people. But that does not go without saying that I am looking forward to eventually being able to be in person again.
Amen to that. Go ahead, Lindsay. How has COVID-19 impacted Mind, Body, and Kitchen?
Yeah, I agree with all of you. I kind of had to take a step back and, focus on me and process everything that was going on before I took the next step forward to say, okay, how can I use my creativity and make the most of this situation? So similar to Elizabeth, I've had more opportunities to do things online and kind of push myself out of my comfort zone. Teaching yoga online, so bizarre at first because you're not in the room with bodies, touching, feeling, eye contact. It's like so different, but it's taught me a lot as a yoga teacher. So I've been able to work with different organizations, exploring new ways to collaborate and put programs together for people. That's been really cool. And I did develop an online course. So that was totally out of my comfort zone because I'm not techie at all. But I did, and I focused on binge eating and emotional eating. And I know we're talking about fitness, but on the mental health side of things, to help people with their anxiety, improving their self-worth, helping people not feel so alone if that's something they're struggling with. And then the wellness industry as a whole, I think people are just taking a step back, or I hope people are taking a step back and being more aware of their physical health, their mental health, their emotional well-being, and sort of embracing the journey. I know a lot of people in my world have been embracing it and just taking it day by day, and that's all we can do right now.
Yes. So last question I have for you guys for the night is, how can we prevent isolation and social distancing from reducing our commitment to living a healthier lifestyle from day to day? I'll go ahead and let Elizabeth start that one.
That is a tough one. So depending on your personality type, some of us thrive in group settings and some of us recharge alone. I always say for work, I can be that person and be in the group, but then I got to go home and seclude myself for 3 days. But really what I think is most important is, 2020 and obviously into this year has really been an opportunity for something what I call the rubber band test. And the rubber band test is, it came to me in an idea when I was cleaning out my desk and I found a stash of rubber bands and I was like, oh, sweet, rubber bands. And I started pulling on some of them and some of them just snapped immediately and others had some more tensile strength. And I feel like that's exactly what people have gone through, myself included, in this past year of the pandemic, is that we don't even know how resilient we are until we're tested. And so the ways that we can do that is by nourishing, as we've been saying, nourishing ourselves, mind, body, spirit, soul, the whole self, so that when things happen, we can be more resilient. And so really digging deep into how are the ways that we recharge, how are the ways that we like to connect with people, and continuing to do that in safe ways.
Yes, thank you, Elizabeth. Justin, how can we prevent isolation and social distancing from stopping us from having a healthier lifestyle day to day?
Yeah, I would say, speaking on what Elizabeth stated, is like figuring out, those challenges that happened before the actual pandemic. What was it that we really loved to do prior, and like we stated, we all have our strength and our actual skill sets that we're expertise at. But I think it's like challenging our mental capacity. For me, one of the things that I've gotten better at doing was cooking, different meals. And doing that, what I've done is actually showcase these on my social media platforms. I think social media is a really powerful tool that has connected me to a lot more people, like farther than I could actually fathom, even when I was in the gyms more heavily. Just kind of like, it's not all about just the weight training again, like we stated, but the other aspects that make it fun. I'll just share this one thing with you guys. I just created a fitness TikTok video last night. So I'm getting more like creative with these different tools that are online, doing different dances with like the fitness. And I'm a former athlete. We only dance when we won games. But like, I'm like, look, if I can get these people inspired by just a workout that has different dancing, and that creates that, embracing of that person on the social media basis, and they're laughing at it, that's great. I just connected and I eliminated self-isolation because it's like they felt like I was part of their normal routine. Maybe they had a down day and that video just inspired them to laugh more. But guess what? When they laughed, I just connected them to what I do with fitness. So I used that actual, platform to inspire others, and it eliminated that isolation component, and it built that, I guess, networking ability outside of just, hey, walking into like a Whole Foods. It's maybe someone that I never knew, and I just seen a video and they laughed about it. And I was like, great, it worked. I mean, it helped me engage with them, and it took me out of my comfort zone as well, because I'm not really a dancer, but yeah. So that's just the way that I created to stop self-isolation, Malaysia.
Thank you so much, Justin. And Lindsay, how can we prevent isolation and social distancing from reducing our commitment to living healthier day by day?
Yeah, I love listening to all your answers. And then I forget what I'm going to say. No, but I think having a strong why is really important. And what this pandemic has done for a lot of people is I think it's changed the way they think about their health goals, and kind of going, less from a superficial way and more towards like real, like getting to the heart of why people want to lose weight, why they want to get in shape, why they want to eat healthier. Because what I would hear a lot of times from people is that, oh, I got to lose weight for this wedding, or I really want to lose weight for such and such. I'll be happy when. And now that we don't have all these events, we're not around people as much. So there's kind of that barrier that people can hide behind. But when you have a really strong why, why you want to feel good inside and out, it doesn't matter if we're social distancing and people aren't seeing our day-to-day actions. It only matters how you feel about what you're doing day to day. So knowing your why and going after your goals, not from a place of fear, but from a place of love. That's really what I'm all about. So.
Oh my goodness, that was a good one. I don't even know what to say. How to follow that up? No. Honestly, what I could say and what I suggest for anybody who's dealing with isolation or feeling isolated during these times is to just you have to accept where we are. We won't ever go back to how we used to be, no matter how much we want to. We won't ever go back to how we used to be. So one thing that I've been suggesting to a lot of people is, one, the same way we had to go online and we had to become virtual with our personal training, people have to become virtual with their workouts. Do not be afraid to join an online studio. Don't be afraid to reach out to an online coach. Don't be afraid to reach out to an online fitness group. I know Mind, Body, and Kitchens offers that. So don't be afraid to reach out to people and still find some ways to connect. It might be weird with 100 different people on Zoom and everybody's jumping around and doing different things, but you can still get on there, and it still feels good to know that at least somebody else out there is trying just as much as you are. At least somebody else is out there jumping around in front of a camera just like you are. So do not be afraid to go out and try to find different outlets that you can somehow reach people. And like Lindsay said, find your why. Find why it is, what it is that's motivating you. It has to be something bigger than, like she said, a wedding or something like that. You have to know your why and what it is that you're doing. So that concludes all the questions that I have for my wonderful, wonderful panelists. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Before we go, I want each of you guys to just talk really briefly about your brand, your website, where they can find all your social medias. And we'll start with Justin.
Yeah, thank you again, Malaysia, and all the panelists for this opportunity. So my social media platform is at Just Watch Me Fitness. You can find a lot of my virtual workouts on that platform as well. My website is justwatchmellc.com. Also, we'll be launching a partnership with Malaysia that we're going to work on with a podcast component that helps with wellness and fitness. So that's going to be coming to BA. I also have, like she stated, a fitness line. As you see, this is one of my fitness brands, Just Watch Me. We have the men's garments, the hoodies. We have the female legging compression gear. So, and we also have the fanny packs and the water bottles. So part of my platform, when they join the boot camp, we provide them those physical clothing as objects, because you want to make them feel a part of the movement, not just from the workout standpoint, but embracing them in the actual culture of clothing. So thank you again, Malaysia, for this great opportunity and being on your panel, and look forward to future opportunities.
Thank you, Justin. Elizabeth.
Hello again. So the easiest way to find my contact information is my website, which is elizabethpriller.com. And so I have two brands. I have the consulting and coaching brand, Elizabeth Priller Consulting, and then I have the physical space that I just opened this past December, which is Locust Co-working and Wellness Space. And it was actually on my vision board for 2020 to open a wellness center. And then like 2 weeks later, the pandemic hit, but I did not lose sight of that dream. And so this is the only wellness-based co-working space in the tri-state area. And so it's kind of nerve-wracking to be the first and the only, but at the same time, very exciting to bring this service to the community. So it's not only a space where people can rent a desk space, but they're renting a desk space in a wellness-based studio. So we have aromatherapy. The place is filled with plants. My neighbors think I have a jungle here. I think they actually thought I had a plant store. I think that's what they thought this was going to be, was a plant store. But we have aromatherapy, meditation, yoga, wellness workshops. And so it's helping people feel good in their mind and their body while they do their work.
Thank you, Elizabeth. And Lindsay.
Well, that all sounds awesome. And Elizabeth, what a dream. I mean, good for you. So you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Mind Body Kitchen. My website is mindbodykitchen.org. And that's it. Short and sweet. One day I might have an official space, but right now everything's online or in person. You can find me in Buffalo Grove, Illinois. Hit me up.
Thank you, Lindsay. And you guys can find me at Malaysia Jordan on all social media platforms. You can visit my website, www.malaysiaspersonaltraining.com. I am working on launching an online dance studio, which I'll be teaching dance, cardio, So I'm super excited about that. Be watching out. Like Justin said, we're working on our own little talk show that we're working on. So I'm super excited for that. Other than fitness, you guys can catch me every Wednesday on Flight Radio 105.7. Have to plug that in there. And yeah, so we want to thank everybody who took the time to watch this live and to watch this recording. And if you guys have any other questions, do not be afraid to reach out to my esteemed panelists via their platform. So you guys have a blessed night. Thank you guys for watching. Bye, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.
1 minute. Okay. All right, you guys. I'm going to go ahead and I recorded this whole thing. I'm going to download it to my computer and then I'll just send it to everybody's email address. I think I can fit it in. If not, I'll send it via some other way, but I'll send it all over to you guys. And I'll also post it on my Facebook and my YouTube. So I'll go ahead and get that done, you guys. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you,
everyone.
No problem. Have a good night, guys.
All right.
Same to you.
Thank you.